Someone very close to me reminded me this week in this decision that LSU is the best job in football. When you take the history, tradition, passion, and the great players in the state of Louisiana, no one can argue that when you're in Tiger Stadium on Saturday night, there is nothing like it. And this place is built for championships with championship expectations. We understand that. But as an elite competitor, that's exactly what you want. And that's why we're here.
Except that you were just at the rival school, Ole Miss. Look, stop me if you've heard this already, but this is the craziest coaching carousel ever. It has spun into outer space. Destination Planet Kiffin. Yes, there are a ton of names on this list. There's even more than this, and there's more to come because Penn State hasn't made a hire yet. But I feel like the internet blew up, and Lane Kiffin's really good at blowing up the internet, social media, with his thoughts, his moves. This is another one. He's not great at saying goodbye in the past either.
It's an understatement.
But it still feels to me like there's something missing from this story that I haven't read it yet. Such as he is doing this, where you went to a place where you can get the best players possible. They're going to give you the money for you and the players to do so that you can do what? Win a national championship. You're at the doorway to the CFP right now. Yeah. But you're going.
He wanted his cake and eat it, too.
I think he wants to clone himself.
He wanted the next job, and he begged to stay there. Begged may be the inappropriate word, but he asked to stay there, and he was denied that opportunity. So he had to do what he had to do, and he got on a plane, and much to the chagrin of all the Ole Miss fans, and certainly understand how their sentiments have to give from their own pocketbooks to help build the roster that got him to this place. And while I know we want to attach blame to him, and you're welcome to it, the calendar's wrong. The calendar has to get fixed where coaches are required to finish the job that they have, and you cannot talk to them about another job opportunity within the confines of the NCAA until their season is done. That's where we have to get this. And until we do, we're going to have clunky landings like this.
I disagree with that, Rick. I believe the calendar plays a role here, but you don't have to have this messy sort of dismount, to use your great analogy, like he's done. He's done this every single place he's gone. It's a disaster. He doesn't know how to break up. He doesn't do what's in the best interest of not only himself, but where he goes. And I think we're going to be 4 or 5 years from now having this same conversation, and LSU fan base is going to be pissed off because he got in his own way as well. So while the calendar needs to change, the whole thing needs to change. This is about Lane Kiffin and the choices he makes, and it reminds me of that analogy of the frog and the scorpion. Where the scorpion wants to go across the river, promises that he won't sting the frog. They get to the other side, bam, the frog goes, man, why'd you do that? You said you weren't going to do it. He's like, I'm a scorpion. This is what you get with Lane Kiffin, and I hope LSU knows what it got, because be careful what you ask for, and I don't know if it's a big of an upgrade as they may think. The
way it was told to me, the frog doesn't get to the other side.
They go down in the middle.
He drowned.
You killed us both, and Ole Miss is the frog.
But if I'm trying to say how sincere I am, and
you shouldn't be reading
how much I shouldn't be damn reading it.
Thank you.
I mean, what in the hell is that?
Yep.
How heartfelt is that? That's right on brand.
Yeah.
That's right on type for Lane. Al Davis had him nailed perfectly. Just everybody else is a little slow on the uptake.
Well, my grandma used to say, boy, you raggedy. And that's what this is. Lane Kiffin is raggedy in his efforts to exit, stage left. He is raggedy. He's done it multiple times now. I don't begrudge the man going to a job in which he has coveted, and I've stated that once that job opened, that his people were kicking the tires on it months ago, and it finally came to fruition where he's the new head coach. But yes, he could have handled it much better, because we have known for a while that he wanted the gig, and there's a proper way of settling things where you currently are without, as someone said, burning the bridge while you're still on it. Yeah. And yet he hasn't mastered that process up to this point.
Or doesn't care to.
Or doesn't care to. He's just going to be who he is. I played for the dude's dad, and they couldn't be different. Of course, I haven't hung out with Coach Kiffin. I know you have. I've heard you share a story about being with him, and he seemed normal. His pops was great, one of the greatest coaches I've ever had, great teacher, wonderful personality, and maybe Lane is the same with his players. And I can understand him wanting to finish the drill and coach them throughout the playoffs, but it didn't make sense, especially with you going to an SEC rival. Why would I allow you to stay in here and then poach some of my players and take them to your next stop and have all this information at your beck and call?
Or, yeah, if you're going to move in with a new family, you don't get to stay with your current one.
Right.
Right, in that situation. All these
Depends
other
on how
coaches,
much game you got.
Okay.
Talking to the wrong cat. We all understand that, Adam. We all get it.
Like Will Stein is going to go to Kentucky. He's going to coach Oregon's offense for as long as possible. Head coaches like Eric Morris, before he takes over at Oklahoma State, going to ride this out with North Texas. Tons of examples from that list we showed. But Ole Miss had to show some backbone and some self-esteem here.
I applaud them for it.
Right?
I think for too long these administrations have been held hostage by head coaches, most notably with these 10-year deals and these guaranteed buyouts. It's nice to finally see somebody say, hey, wait, we're not going to play this game. Now, it's unfortunate for those players, and that's what I really feel about, that nobody's really necessarily looking at what's for the betterment of the sport. Like, we need our damn leaders to lead. We need people to figure this out and look out for the entity of the entirety of the holistic approach of everything that's on the table instead of trying to take me, mine, my. And it's that thinking where we've ended up here is because everybody's doing what's best for themselves, which I'm okay with a guy getting his, but there's a way to do it that doesn't have to be and end up like this where it's bad for everybody.
Well, it's the new arms race. It used to be facilities. Now it's the resetting with your coaching staff. So that's why we've seen so many openings thus far this year, especially in the SEC. Everyone wants a rebuild and overhaul, and they want that change to happen immediately so they can now do what, say, a Kirk Cignetti has done at Indiana. They all are trying to follow that approach, that model, and I don't think it's going to work across the board. Those are unique situations. I don't think Coach Golesh is going to drag everybody from USF. Maybe he proves me wrong. The same with Summerall going to Florida. I don't think you can master or replicate what Coach Cignetti was able to do.
Yeah, and look, I understand your point about the calendar. So into the cake of timing.
The NFL,
comes
the NFL doesn't allow a coach to leave their team until
what
the
other
season's
sport
over.
would?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And yet that's what we allow to have happen. And all we have to do is move recruiting back to where it was.
Thank you.
And move the transfer portal to the end of the school year where actually kids could
Why
go
is
to
that so
school.
hard?
Why is that hard to do?
Yes.
Because we didn't do it and because coaches, well, I got to know who my team is so I can have my call.
But
if
part of
everybody's
this-
doing it the same, we can do this and we can actually have kids finish school.
Yep.
We can have coaches finish seasons and fans can understand who the heck's on their team. It's ridiculous. And I just think that the leaders need to look at themselves in the mirror and say, we can change this and change it now.
But isn't part of this being that Kiffin is one of one? He's one of a kind, and he's putting out pictures of book excerpts amidst the discussion of where he might
Read
end
the
up,
room.
as opposed to like, hey, I'm not going to say anything.
We're
until
saying
after
one
the
of
season.
one right now as a coach leaving a playoff team in the midst of a playoff chance, and that's an unusual circumstance. But if Bo Prabula, if Drew Aller had gotten hurt like he got hurt against Northwestern in a playoff game and Bo Prabula wasn't available last year because he had transferred to Missouri, everybody understood why he transferred to Missouri. But if he was not available to play, we would have had this conversation long ago. We have to change the calendar. Let the postseason be the celebration of a great season that we just had with all the participants there for the finish. Get that done. And then have recruiting so the coaches can go into a home and tell mom and dad what this next university is going to be like. Or a new coach is going to go in and have time to have a new recruiting class. And then have transfer portal at the end of a school year where kids actually can finish an academic school year.
It all just felt
I don't
so
understand why
strange.
that's complicated.
Yeah, what's the rush?
Yeah.
I get you.
And it just felt so strange to me because we watched all these games together at work Friday, Saturday. Randy was at the Mountain West, all the great games that were going on. And then Sunday and Monday, I felt like I was watching our counterparts around the country talk about how wrong Ole Miss was for not letting Lane finish this. I was like, what am
They
I
were
missing?
protecting their interests, which I think we all understand.
By way of their agent or agents.
Yeah.
Sort of an unspoken defense.
Ole Miss felt snubbed, and understandably so.
Understandably,
They felt snubbed. They were throwing the same money. They said, listen, we have this same opportunity for you. Why would you leave? And he says he wants to go, then you have to go. But you don't get to stay and have your cake and eat it
But
too.
Coach Saban did the same thing with Kirby Smart when he had accepted the Georgia job. He did the same thing with Lane Kiffin, who was the OC. They're heading on the championship run.
changed
Until it
course.
became a distraction
Right.
and he jettisoned.
Get out of here.
Yeah, why not leave at halftime of a game then?
Yeah, I'm with
Well,
you.
and we haven't even gotten to the players not playing in bowl games.
And
That's coming next.
We haven't even gotten to the fact that his daughter was dating Whit Weeks. That's a hell of a coincidence.
Maybe that's a wholesome good part of this story.
It cuts down severely on the commute.
Anyway, we all can't wait for LSU at Ole Miss next season, and I'm sure
What does that have to do?
neither can the Rebels fans.
As
That's a hell of a coincidence.